5 signs your aura is powerful. You're not like everyone else. Your aura speaks louder than your words. Every soul carries a unique frequency, a spiritual energy that can either uplift or unsettle the world around it. In today's video, 5 signs. Your aura is powerful. You're not like everyone else. We'll explore how your inner light shapes your outer reality and why your energy might feel too much for others to handle. At Spiritual Wisdom, we believe self-awareness is the foundation of spiritual awakening, and understanding your aura is where it begins. As you listen, reflect on your own energy field, your emotions, and the people you attract. Do you recognize these signs within yourself? Comment below and share your experience, because your story might just inspire someone else's spiritual growth today. 1. Magnetic attraction, the stranger magnet effect. There are people whose very presence speaks louder than words, whose silence can fill a room with meaning. They don't have to seek attention or prove their worth. Attention finds them effortlessly. Their magnetism is not born of appearance or charm, but from something far deeper, their aura. When your inner world is aligned and your soul is in harmony with your higher self, your energy becomes steady, radiant, and alive. You begin to move through life with quiet confidence, and even in stillness, your presence is felt. This is the unspoken language of energy, where your vibration communicates truth before your mouth ever opens, and those around you sense it instinctively. People with powerful auras often experience what's known as the stranger magnet effect. Strangers feel unusually comfortable around them. Within minutes of meeting, people share their pain, secrets, and dreams as though they have known them for years. Children are drawn to them, smiling with pure recognition. Animals feel calm, often sitting nearby or following them with quiet devotion. These moments are not coincidences. They are energetic reactions to balance. When your frequency is strong, stable, and loving, the world responds with trust. Others may not understand why they feel safe near you, but their hearts know, because energy speaks the language of truth that words cannot. This resonance moves beyond personality or social charm. It belongs to a realm of spirituality where your energy field mirrors your inner integrity. When you live in alignment, your aura expands into a silent message that says, "I am real. I am present. I see you." That vibration invites people to drop their masks and show their authentic selves. You become a mirror that reflects what others are missing in themselves, a sense of peace, safety, and wholeness. This is the essence of spiritual awakening, the transformation from seeking love externally to radiating it naturally from within. Modern science now supports what ancient spiritual wisdom has always known. According to the HeartMath Institute, the human heart emits an electromagnetic field that extends several feet beyond the body, changing with our emotions and intentions. When you are calm and centered, that field becomes coherent, sending out waves of peace that others can feel. It explains why sitting beside someone grounded brings you serenity, while standing near someone anxious may unsettle you. You are, in truth, a living frequency. Every heartbeat, every breath, sends energy into the world, and the state of that energy determines how life mirrors itself back to you. Your aura does not become powerful by pretending to be spiritual or performing perfection. It grows strong through healing, honesty, and integration. It's the result of walking through pain without losing your light, of facing shadows and choosing compassion instead of bitterness. Every heartbreak, every challenge you've overcome has refined your vibration. You've been broken open to discover what's eternal inside you. That quiet strength is now what others feel. They may not have the words for it, but their souls recognize your energy as truth. Spirituality is not about knowing more. It's about being more aligned. Words can be misleading, but energy never lies. When your aura becomes powerful, people sense it before you speak. A stranger might open up to you in a crowded cafe. A baby might stop crying when you hold them. Animals may rest near you because your vibration feels like home. These are not random acts. They are confirmations that your soul is coherent, that your energy brings harmony to chaos. If you often find yourself the listener, the comforter, or the safe space for others, understand that this is no accident. Your aura carries the memory of healing, and that healing resonates outwards. You are living proof that peace is possible. In a world desperate for authenticity, your presence becomes medicine. Your aura doesn't shout, it whispers truth. It reminds those around you of who they truly are. And that is the real power of spiritual awakening. To live so fully in your essence that your energy itself becomes a light in the dark, a calm heartbeat in a restless world. Have you ever noticed strangers opening up to you for no reason, like they've known you forever? If this resonates, share your experience in the comments so others can understand the magic of magnetic energy. If you haven't felt this yet, type, "I'm ready to attract with my aura" below. And let's begin this powerful journey together. 2. Heightened emotional sensitivity and intuition. You can walk into any space and instantly sense the emotional temperature before anyone speaks, before anything unfolds. It's not just intuition, it's your aura, your energy field, absorbing everything around you like a finely tuned spiritual antenna, picking up frequencies others can't hear. You notice the quiet tension behind smiles, the weight of unspoken words, the undercurrent of hidden joy. While others read expressions, you read vibrations. You don't need proof, because your knowledge runs deeper than logic. It's not imagination. It's the soul's intelligence guiding your every step. And that inner guidance is one of the purest signs of spiritual awakening and spiritual growth. Your sensitivity is not weakness, it's your superpower. This deep emotional attunement means you're not just empathic, you are energetically open, feeling what others feel as if it were your own. You absorb joy, pain, anxiety, and excitement. That's why crowds can feel suffocating, like waves of energy crashing against your nervous system. Yet when you retreat into stillness, your true power reveals itself. In silence, your intuition doesn't shout. It whispers with clarity and calmness. It tells you what's real before your mind can analyze it. It's never frantic, never forced, simply knowing what is true, guiding you through energy rather than thought. Sometimes you sense danger before it happens, or feel heartbreak hiding behind someone's laughter. You see beyond words into the vibration beneath them. That's your inner radar, your energetic perception. And like all powerful gifts, it requires care. Because you absorb so much, you must learn to protect your field. Small but sacred rituals, like grounding your feet to the earth, deep breathing, or asking silently, "What energy isn't mine?" allow you to release what doesn't belong to you and return to your natural frequency. This isn't detachment, it's alignment. When you reclaim your energy, Your aura becomes clearer, stronger, and radiant with balance. Your aura is not reactive. It's revelatory. It doesn't just respond, it reveals. You are awake to life on a level others cannot yet perceive. Spiritual awakening is not about perfection. It's about awareness, about seeing truth in energy, not just form. When you honor that awareness instead of doubting it, wisdom flows through you naturally. You stop forcing understanding and start embodying it. Every insight arises from stillness, not struggle. Every moment becomes an opportunity to practice trust instead of fear. The more you listen inwardly, the more life responds outwardly in harmony. Some will call you too emotional or too sensitive, but they only fear the mirror you hold up. Your depth makes them face the parts of themselves they've silenced. Your presence heals and exposes at the same time. That's the sacred task of those carrying spiritual wisdom: to feel without drowning, to discern without judgment, and to stand in truth without apology. Your aura wasn't meant to blend in, it was meant to awaken. So protect your peace, honor your sensitivity, and remember this truth. You are not like everyone else because you were born to feel what others cannot, to transform emotion into understanding, and to turn awareness into light. If this message resonates with your soul, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss what's coming next. And in the comments, let us know. Have you ever sensed something no one else could? Your experience might help someone feel a little less alone. 3. Physical manifestations of your aura. A powerful aura doesn't just stir emotions, it bends reality around you in subtle but unmistakable ways. When your energy field is strong, you might notice lights flicker as you enter a room, your phone's battery draining unusually fast, or even a watch stopping on your wrist. These aren't coincidences or malfunctions. They're energetic signatures, electromagnetic reactions to your vibrational frequency. Carl Jung's spiritual wisdom reminds us, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. The same principle applies to your aura. When you're unaware of your own energy, you might dismiss these signs as bad luck or random events, yet they are echoes of your inner force. The universe's subtle reminder that your spirit is far more powerful than you realize. Your body, too, becomes a vessel of this invisible force. People with a radiant, high-frequency aura often emit actual warmth. Those who stand near you might feel a wave of heat, or you might notice your hands heating up during moments of intense emotion or focus. This isn't ordinary body temperature. It's your life energy, what ancient masters called chi or prana, flowing freely through you. When your aura glows bright, it doesn't just warm your soul, it warms the air around you, touching others with an unseen flame of vitality. It's the same energy that healers throughout history have channeled, the fire of spirit that transforms the atmosphere wherever you go. The more in tune you are with your energy, the more you begin to experience what others might call strange coincidences. Goosebumps when you hear the truth, chills when someone speaks from the heart, dreams that later manifest in real life. These are not fantasies. They are forms of communication between your subconscious and the divine field of energy that surrounds you. Carl Jung described this as synchronicity, meaningful coincidences that connect the visible and invisible worlds. When your aura grows stronger, you start to live not just through logic, but through intuition. You sense what others miss, feel what others ignore, and perceive life as a deep spiritual awakening rather than a series of random events. Maya once believed she was cursed with bad luck around technology. Her phone froze constantly, her laptop shut down whenever she was stressed, and her devices seemed to rebel against her emotions. One day, a coworker laughed, "You're like a walking energy bomb." And something inside her clicked. She realized her emotions were influencing her environment. When she was anxious, technology malfunctioned. When she was calm, everything worked smoothly. Through mindfulness, deep breathing, and silence, she began to stabilize her energy. Her aura didn't weaken, it harmonized. She learned that awareness, not avoidance, was the key to mastery. Her story mirrors what many experience during their own spiritual awakening. Once you understand your energy, life begins to cooperate with you instead of resisting you. Every person with a strong aura eventually realizes that energy doesn't stop at the edge of the skin. It extends outward, shaping the mood of a room, the rhythm of conversations, even the thoughts of those nearby. When you're unbalanced, that same energy can cause tension, confusion, or chaos. But when you're centered, it becomes magnetic, drawing peace, clarity, and harmony into everything it touches. Your aura is not passive. It is alive, intelligent, and responsive. It is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, between thought and matter, between who you are inside and what manifests around you. When you finally recognize the truth of this, as Carl Jung would say, you stop calling it fate and start calling it creation. Do you recognize these signs in your own life? If you do, declare it boldly in the comments. My aura is powerful, and the universe responds to my energy. 4. Natural boundaries and energy management. You naturally withdraw after social interactions, not because you're distant or antisocial, but because your energy needs space to breathe. While others might crave constant stimulation, you intuitively understand that too much external input drains your inner world. Your solitude isn't isolation, it's sacred maintenance. You return to yourself not out of avoidance, but as a form of energetic hygiene. This is how you sustain your clarity, your peace, and your spiritual center in a world that rarely slows down. You set invisible boundaries that others may never see but definitely feel. You decline invitations to chaotic environments, not out of judgment, but because your energy recognizes disharmony before your mind can explain it. Loud spaces, disorganized crowds, people who constantly demand attention, these things feel like static buzzing against your skin. You instinctively avoid them because you know your peace isn't up for negotiation. This kind of discernment may confuse others, but for you, it's an act of self-preservation rooted in spiritual wisdom. Those who don't understand might say you've changed or become distant, but the truth is, you've simply grown. You're no longer available to energies that pull you out of alignment. You've stopped explaining your need for rest, your silence, your no's. And in that choice, your aura becomes stronger, denser, and more grounded. You're not afraid to pause, retreat, or recharge because you've learned that energy, once depleted, cannot be faked or forced. You've likely developed practices that help you stay rooted. Visualizing roots anchoring deep into the earth during moments of overwhelm keeps your energy stable. You might imagine a golden waterfall flowing from above, cleansing your field of everything that's not yours, negative emotions, intrusive thoughts, toxic residues. These aren't just metaphors, they're spiritual technologies. Each visualization, each breath, each moment of intentional solitude is a declaration. My energy is sacred, and I am its guardian. This instinct to protect your space, your peace, your vibe isn't something you learned from a book. It's something your soul remembered. It's the wisdom you carry from lifetimes of sensing, absorbing, healing. And now, in this life, you finally realized you don't have to carry everyone. You don't have to stay open all the time. You are allowed to close. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to disappear and come back stronger. Your aura isn't just strong, it's intelligent. It speaks for you before you say a word. And when you protect it, you're not being cold or distant, you're embodying energetic maturity. This is what power looks like when it's quiet, grounded, and real. If you honor your need for solitude and protect your energy, you're not alone. You're evolving. Leave a like and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom, and don't forget to activate the notification bell so you won't miss more content like this. Type in the comments, I protect my peace and honor my energy. 5. Enhanced manifestation and synchronicity. When your aura is truly powerful, manifestation begins to feel effortless. You think of someone, and suddenly they reach out. You desire something deeply, and opportunities align in ways that feel too precise to be random. These aren't coincidences. They are evidence that your energy is in tune with the universe, co-creating reality around you. This is the mark of someone in the midst of a spiritual awakening. Your inner world is no longer separate from the outer one. Instead, it acts like a magnet, pulling experiences into your life that match your vibration. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." But when your aura is strong and clear, you begin to recognize the signs. Repeating numbers like 111 or 444 appear often. You hear a song at the exact moment it answers a question in your heart. Animals cross your path with symbolic meaning. Dreams become vivid and emotionally charged, carrying messages that seem to know your soul better than your waking self does. All of these are synchronicities, divine winks from the universe, letting you know you are exactly where you're meant to be. This level of energetic sensitivity is not a burden, it is power. Your aura interacts with the quantum field, meaning your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs ripple outward, shaping the structure of your reality. And the more conscious you become, the more precise your manifestations are. When your heart and intention are aligned, reality organizes itself around that clarity. You begin to notice that your presence alone shifts the energy in a room. People feel drawn to you, even if they don't understand why. This is not magic. This is frequency meeting frequency. Harnessing this power doesn't require force, it requires focus. One deeply effective practice is setting a clear intention before sleep. The moments before you drift off are powerful because your subconscious becomes open and receptive. When you direct your energy through a simple thought or silent request, asking for guidance, clarity, healing, or progress, your dreams often deliver answers, and your waking life begins to arrange itself in support of that desire. This is how energy works when you stop chasing and start aligning. Another way to work with your aura is by keeping a synchronicity journal. Write down the moments that feel like more than coincidence, the calls that came just in time, the messages in music, the numbers, the dreams. Over time, you'll see patterns. You'll start to realize that your aura is always in conversation with the universe, and the more you pay attention, the clearer that dialogue becomes. This habit strengthens your spiritual awareness and sharpens your intuition. It teaches you that you are not separate from the divine flow. You are part of it. When your aura is this powerful, the laws of reality respond to your energy. You no longer beg for signs, they flood in. You no longer force outcomes when they arrive when you're ready. This is not luck. It is alignment. It is the energetic reward of your spiritual awakening. If this message resonates with your soul, affirm it in the comments. I am aligned with the universe, and my manifestations are unfolding now. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a moment of divine synchronicity and spiritual insight. When your aura is powerful, you naturally walk a different path, one that reflects confidence, authenticity, and deep spiritual awakening. You were never meant to blend in, because your light was designed to remind others of their own. Protect your energy, honor your sensitivity, and continue growing into the highest version of yourself. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom, and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next video, filled with insights for your spiritual growth. These 10 rare signs prove you're too intelligent for the average mind. Intelligence is not how much you know, but how deeply you understand. Carl Jung once said that true intelligence is the ability to hold two opposing ideas and still function with clarity, a sign of a mind that has transcended the ordinary. In today's video, we'll uncover 10 rare signs that prove you're not just smart, but profoundly aware, too intelligent for the average mind to easily comprehend. As you listen, reflect on how these traits show up in your daily life and how embracing them can lead to deeper happiness and self-mastery. Do you see yourself in these signs? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's explore the depths of spiritual wisdom together here on Spiritual Wisdom. 1. You question everything. You question everything not to rebel, but to understand. You've never been the kind of person who simply accepts what's given. Instead, you doubt, analyze, and verify. This deep hunger for truth is not just a sign of intelligence, it's a mark of spiritual awakening. You can sense when something doesn't add up, even when everyone else seems convinced. You can feel when words lack substance, when systems are built on illusion, and when people speak from fear instead of understanding. You're not satisfied with surface-level knowledge because your soul longs for something real, something deeper than the comfort of conformity. Most people stop thinking when they find an answer, but you keep thinking until you find the truth. Your curiosity is not random, it's sacred. It's the silent whisper of your higher self urging you to see beyond appearances. You've learned that real intelligence is not memorizing what others believe, but daring to see what others ignore. You observe, reflect, and ask questions that pierce through layers of conditioning and social hypnosis. This ability to discern is what sets you apart. It's why ordinary conversations often feel shallow, and why superficial explanations never satisfy you. You crave authenticity because your mind and spirit are aligned with truth, not trends. This is the essence of spiritual wisdom, where intelligence and intuition unite to reveal what lies beneath illusion. But the path of the thinker is not always easy. When you question everything, you sometimes stand alone. People may mistake your curiosity for arrogance or your discernment for cynicism. Yet what they don't understand is that your skepticism is not negativity, it's consciousness. You don't reject ideas to feel superior. You reject falsehood to stay free. Carl Jung said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." And you know this firsthand. Every truth you uncover destroys a comforting lie. Every insight you gain separates you a little further from the crowd. Still, you keep going, because the light of awareness is worth more than the warmth of ignorance. Through questioning, you begin to see patterns everywhere. You notice how fear controls people, how ego hides behind morality, how manipulation dresses itself as kindness. You sense the hidden energy behind words, the emotional motives beneath decisions, the invisible structures shaping the world. And that awareness becomes your inner compass. It helps you navigate life with clarity while others wander in confusion. It helps you trust your intuition as much as your logic, blending intellect and spirituality into one clear perception. You understand that wisdom doesn't come from knowing everything, but from realizing how little you truly know and allowing that humility to open new doors of insight. The more you question, the freer you become. You begin to detach from illusions, status, approval, control, and instead value inner peace, purpose, and authenticity. You no longer chase validation because you've learned that truth is its own reward. Each question becomes a key, unlocking another layer of awareness, guiding you closer to your essence. You start to see that life itself is a mystery meant to be lived, not solved. True intelligence, you realize, is not about superiority. It's about consciousness. It's about looking at reality without filters, about daring to ask why until the illusion falls away and only truth remains. And that more than any degree or title is what makes your mind too rare, too luminous, and too free for the average world to understand. Have you ever questioned everything around you, your beliefs, society, or even your own thoughts? If so, share one life-changing insight you've discovered in the comments below so others can grow with you. If not, comment. I will start questioning and take the first step toward true spiritual wisdom and awakening. 2. You get bored easily. You get bored easily because your mind is constantly seeking something deeper, something that challenges and expands it beyond the ordinary. Routine tasks feel like a slow death to your creativity because your intelligence isn't satisfied with repetition. It craves stimulation, meaning, and growth. You need variety the way others need comfort. This is not a weakness or impatience. It's the mark of a mind that hungers for evolution. As Carl Jung once said, the creation of something new is not accomplished by the intellect, but by the play instinct. You are not merely thinking your way through life. You are playing with possibilities, exploring new territories of thought, and creating meaning where others see monotony. When you find yourself switching careers, hobbies, or passions, it's not because you're lost. It's because your curiosity is alive. Your inner voice keeps whispering that there's more to learn, more to experience, more to uncover. You are not content staying still, because stillness feels like decay to a spirit born to grow. In truth, your boredom is a messenger from your higher self, urging you to move toward greater awareness. Each time you feel the weight of monotony, it's your soul signaling that you've outgrown your current environment and it's time to evolve. This isn't chaos. It's a natural part of your spiritual growth. You are designed to explore, to seek, and to awaken through discovery. You sense when an experience has given you all it can, and once that lesson is absorbed, you instinctively reach for something new. That is the rhythm of intelligence aligned with spirituality, a constant movement between curiosity and understanding, expansion and integration. The danger only comes when you mistake boredom for emptiness, when you think there's something wrong with your inability to settle. The truth is, not everyone is meant to find satisfaction in routine. Some souls are meant to keep moving, to explore the edges of consciousness, and to turn that restless energy into creation. You are one of those souls, but this hunger for novelty can feel lonely. Others may call you inconsistent, ungrounded, or distracted because they don't understand that your restlessness is sacred. It's the spark of creation itself moving through you. The secret is to give that energy direction, to channel your curiosity into something meaningful. When you bring intention into your search for stimulation, every new idea becomes a step on your spiritual journey. You begin to see that the thrill of the unknown isn't about escaping boredom. It's about remembering who you are, an explorer of thought, a seeker of truth, a creator of new realities. Your mind seeks stimulation, but your soul seeks understanding. When these two unite, you find balance. You no longer chase newness just for excitement. You pursue it for growth. You stop running from boredom and start listening to what it's trying to tell you. Every restless thought becomes an invitation to look within, to awaken to a new dimension of your being. And in that awareness, boredom transforms into a powerful teacher. It shows you where your spirit no longer resonates, where your energy no longer flows freely. It points you back to alignment with your true nature. So when you feel uninspired or trapped by routine, remember that it's not a flaw, it's a spiritual signal. It means your consciousness is expanding faster than your environment can contain it. Follow that pull toward new experiences, but do it with awareness. Let curiosity be your compass and spirituality your anchor. Through that harmony, you'll find that your boredom was never the problem. It was always the beginning of your next awakening, a sacred reminder that you were never meant to live on the surface, but to dive endlessly into the depths of life's mystery. 3. You argue with yourself. You often find yourself caught in an invisible debate that no one else can hear. Inside your mind, ideas clash and collide as you analyze everything from multiple perspectives. You question your own reasoning, challenge your conclusions, and rarely take things at face value. This doesn't mean you're confused. It means you're awake. It means your mind operates on a higher level of awareness, where every thought is tested for truth. Carl Jung once said, "Thinking is difficult. That's why most people judge. But you think deeply. You wrestle with ideas because you understand that growth is born from contradiction, and wisdom is never found in blind certainty. Your inner arguments sharpen your logic and stretch your consciousness beyond the average mind. You look at every belief through both the lens of reason and the mirror of intuition, balancing intellect with soul. At times, this makes you tired mentally, emotionally, even spiritually, but it also refines you. Each internal discussion is like a fire that burns away falsehoods and leaves only clarity behind. It's how spiritual wisdom is born not from external knowledge, but from self-examination. You don't just think, you observe yourself thinking. That's what makes your mind rare, almost sacred. This habit of arguing with yourself reveals your devotion to truth over comfort. While others rush to conclusions, you linger in the question. You sit with uncertainty and use it as a teacher. Carl Jung believed that the pendulum of the mind oscillates between sense and nonsense, not between right and wrong. And that's exactly what you experience. You're not trying to win the argument. You're trying to understand the whole of it. You listen to both sides of your mind, the rational and the intuitive, and through this internal dialogue, you find balance between intellect and insight. Sometimes, this can feel like carrying a storm within you. The more intelligent and self-aware you become, the harder it is to rest in simple answers. But that's the price of awakening. The deeper your mind goes, the more it demands honesty. You begin to realize that truth isn't something you create, it's something you remember. Through every mental debate, you refine your perception, soften your ego, and grow closer to your authentic self. Your intelligence becomes a mirror that reflects not only knowledge, but consciousness itself. So when your thoughts spiral into long conversations within, don't see it as confusion or chaos. It's the natural rhythm of a rare mind, a mind that refuses to stay asleep. Each argument is a meditation in disguise, each doubt a doorway to deeper knowing. You're not lost, you're evolving. You're practicing the highest form of intelligence, self-dialogue. This is where thought transforms into awareness, where intellect meets spirituality, and where the teachings of Carl Jung come alive within you. Through this sacred debate, you don't just think, you awaken. 4. You feel emotionally out of sync. You feel emotionally out of sync, not because you are distant or detached, but because you are deeply attuned to the unseen vibrations that most people never notice. You sense the subtle shifts in tone, the heaviness that lingers in a room, and the quiet pain behind someone's smile. It's as if your emotional radar is always on, picking up energies that others are blind to. This is not a flaw. It's a mark of spiritual awakening, a sign that your inner world has expanded beyond the average emotional range. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." You are beginning to live consciously, aware of the energies shaping human behavior, aware of how much emotion drives every interaction. But because you feel so much, you often carry what others suppress, and that can leave you exhausted, questioning why being around people sometimes feels like walking through noise that drowns your peace. You're not antisocial, you're selective. You no longer have patience for conversations without substance or connections without soul. Your sensitivity demands depth, your mind demands truth, and your spirit demands harmony. When the world rushes forward with chaos and distraction, you instinctively step back to recalibrate. This withdrawal is not rejection, it's recovery. You seek alignment, not attention, resonance, not recognition. You have learned that not every connection feeds the soul, and not every smile hides good intentions. In the language of spirituality, you are learning the art of energy discernment, knowing what to absorb, what to release, and what to walk away from. Those who experience this kind of spiritual sensitivity live in two realities at once: the external one that seems logical and predictable, and the inner one that whispers with intuition and emotional truth. You feel life not as a series of events, but as waves of vibration, each carrying meaning. This dual perception makes you both wise and weary, connected yet detached, deeply empathetic yet fiercely protective of your peace. You understand that emotional intelligence isn't just about managing feelings. It's about reading the unseen language of energy. Jung believed that true intelligence integrates both intellect and intuition, and that is exactly what you are doing, merging thought and feeling until they move as one current. When others misunderstand you, when they call you too quiet, too intense, or too sensitive, know that it's because they live in the shallow end while you are swimming in the depths. Your detachment is not apathy, it's awareness. You have learned that your empathy is a sacred gift, but it requires boundaries to remain powerful. Every emotion you feel is a compass pointing you toward alignment. Every moment of overwhelm is a reminder to ground yourself, to return to your center, to honor your emotional clarity instead of hiding it. This is not emotional confusion. It is emotional mastery in progress. To feel deeply in a world that numbs itself is an act of courage. To sense energy is to speak the language of the soul. You are not out of sync. You are simply resonating at a higher frequency than most. And as your awareness expands, you'll realize that your sensitivity is not meant to isolate you, but to awaken you. Not to weaken your heart, but to strengthen your discernment. In that space of self-understanding, you begin to embody spiritual wisdom, learning that true intelligence is not about how much you think, but how deeply you feel, how clearly you see, and how gracefully you protect the energy that sustains your soul. Leave a like and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom if this message resonated with you. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss any video that nourishes your spiritual awakening and deepens your self-understanding. Type in the comments, "I choose emotional harmony and spiritual balance." 5. You struggle to relate. You struggle to relate because your mind operates on a completely different frequency. While most people speak in straight lines, your thoughts move in spirals layered, complex, and multidimensional. You don't just hear words, you absorb tone, energy, and hidden meaning. That's why conversations often feel hollow, as though you're playing a role in a play that no longer interests you. Carl Jung once said, "Loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you." And that's exactly what you feel, the quiet ache of being surrounded yet unseen. You move through the world with a mind that connects ideas faster than others can express them. And this inner speed creates a gap that few can cross. You're not cold or detached. You simply crave authenticity in a world that thrives on surface interaction. You've noticed how often silence becomes your refuge, not because you dislike people, but because you prefer truth over noise. You want conversations that awaken the soul, not ones that drain your spirit. You yearn for moments that explore spirituality, purpose, and the mystery of being alive. But the modern world rarely makes room for that kind of depth. People rush, repeat, and react, while you reflect, analyze, and awaken. That contrast can make you feel like an observer rather than a participant, as if you're walking through a crowd of people asleep. You see patterns in behavior, cycles in emotions, energies in spaces, And this heightened awareness, though powerful, can be isolating. You don't just think, you sense. And that sensitivity, when unshared, can become both your strength and your solitude. At times, you might question whether your intelligence has become a burden. But what you're truly experiencing is the price of spiritual growth. The more awakened your consciousness becomes, the fewer people you can connect with easily. As you evolve, your energy refines, and your soul begins rejecting environments and conversations that no longer match your vibration. You start noticing how draining it feels to explain yourself to those who don't understand, and slowly, you stop trying. You withdraw, not in defeat, but in protection of your inner peace. This is not loneliness, it's recalibration. It's your spirit preparing you for alignment, for higher connections that will understand your silence as much as your speech. Still, there's a tenderness to this experience. When others dismiss your thoughts or misunderstand your emotions, it stings, not because you seek validation, but because you long to share the world that lives inside your mind. You want someone who feels energy the way you do, who reads between the lines and breathes meaning into every moment. Until then, you walk a sacred path few understand. But in this path, you begin to find beauty in solitude. You start realizing that isolation is not emptiness, it's space. Space for your soul to grow, for your mind to expand, for your intuition to lead. You begin embracing your role as both student and observer of life, understanding that spiritual wisdom is often born from the stillness that others fear. And one day, when your vibration has fully aligned, you'll meet others who mirror that same depth. Their presence will not overwhelm you, but ground you. Their silence will not be awkward, but comforting. Until then, you are being shaped by divine design, trained to rely on your own light. So, when you struggle to relate, remember this truth. Your difference is not a curse, it's a calling. You are here to see what others overlook, to feel what others numb, and to remind the world that intelligence without spirituality is empty. But intelligence fused with spiritual growth creates wisdom powerful enough to change lives. 6. You see patterns everywhere. You see patterns everywhere, as if your mind was designed to weave invisible threads between people, events, and ideas that others overlook. What seems like random coincidence to most becomes meaningful to you as a symbol, a sign, a hidden rhythm in the background of existence. You don't just see life, you read it. Every repeated number, every familiar phrase, every synchronicity feels like the universe whispering through coded messages only you can understand. Carl Jung once said, "Synchronicity is an ever-present reality for those who have eyes to see." This is not imagination. It's perception beyond logic. The deep intuitive knowing that life itself is structured with purpose and mystery. Your ability to recognize hidden patterns fuels your creativity and intelligence. You can walk into a room and immediately sense the emotional energy between people, detect the unspoken dynamics, and see how one small action might trigger an entire chain of consequences. You notice how human behavior follows cycles, how nature moves in rhythm, how even your thoughts seem to shape your external world. Spiritual wisdom calls this expanded awareness a gift of the awakened mind, a bridge between intuition and intellect. Yet, with this gift also comes the shadow, the endless thinking, the restless questioning, the sleepless nights when you try to make sense of everything. Because when you can see how the dots connect, it's hard to stop looking for more. But true understanding doesn't come from forcing, meaning it comes from flow. There is a fine balance between observation and surrender. Jung wrote, "Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes." The patterns you see outside are mirrors of your inner world. They reflect what your soul is trying to teach you, your fears, your desires, your evolution. When you stop chasing meaning and start feeling it, clarity arises on its own. That's when synchronicities stop being random events and start becoming confirmations that you're aligned with a greater design. To see patterns everywhere is not to be cursed, it is to be conscious. It means your mind is operating on a higher frequency, tuned to the subtle order that underlies chaos. You are the type of person who can sense divine intelligence in the smallest details. A conversation, a song lyric, a passing thought, and know it's not an accident. The challenge is to remain grounded while navigating these insights. Not every signal needs decoding. Some are meant to be lived, not analyzed. When you let go of the pressure to understand everything, you begin to experience life as a dance rather than a puzzle. So when the patterns appear again, and they will trust that they are guiding you, not haunting you. They are signs that your consciousness is expanding, that your intuition is alive and listening. You are not imagining things. You are awakening to the architecture of reality itself. And in this awareness, as Carl Jung and the essence of spiritual wisdom remind us, you begin to realize that intelligence is not just the ability to think, but the ability to see, to perceive the sacred geometry hidden within ordinary life. 7. You hate small talk. You hate small talk because your mind was never built for surfaces. It was designed to dive into the depths of meaning, emotion, and truth. Shallow conversations feel like sandpaper against your soul, grating, empty, and unfulfilling. You crave real dialogue, the kind that opens hidden doors within another person, the kind that makes you feel something ancient and alive stirring in your chest. This isn't arrogance, it's a sign of deep consciousness. As Carl Jung once said, the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. You seek that reaction, authentic transformation, not meaningless chatter about weather, gossip, or the latest distraction. Yet beneath your dislike for small talk lies a truth. It's often the bridge that leads to the connection you truly desire. In spirituality and spiritual awakening, every word, no matter how trivial it seems, carries energy. Sometimes, a simple, "How are you?" is not a question. It's a cry for understanding, a signal from another soul longing to be seen. Learning to tolerate small talk isn't a sign of settling. It's an act of compassion. It's how you meet people where they are before you guide them into deeper waters. The wise know that awakening doesn't mean avoiding the shallow. It means finding depth in everything. A truly intelligent soul listens not to the surface of words, but to the vibration behind them, sensing fear, loneliness, or love hidden between lines that most ignore. The more spiritually awake you become, the more you realize that communication is energy exchange. Even meaningless conversations carry patterns of emotion and human need. The impatient mind wants to skip the small moments to reach the profound, but the awakened spirit knows that depth is not something you enter, it's something you bring. By infusing awareness, presence, and empathy into the simplest interactions, you transform them into sacred exchanges. This is what separates intellect from wisdom. Intelligence analyzes words. Awakened wisdom feels their essence. You begin to see that the problem was never small talk. It was unconsciousness. When people speak without awareness, it feels empty. But when you are fully present, even silence between sentences hums with life. The awakened man doesn't wait for meaningful conversation. He creates it. He turns an ordinary discussion into a mirror of the soul, not by forcing depth, but by radiating authenticity. Every question becomes a prayer, every answer a revelation. In that space, spirituality and intelligence merge, and even the most casual dialogue becomes a reflection of consciousness itself. So while small talk may never thrill you, you start to see its hidden purpose. It's the soft opening before the symphony begins, the gentle knock before the door to another soul opens. When you engage with awareness, small talk becomes connection, and connection becomes awakening. That's when you realize that spiritual intelligence is not about avoiding what feels shallow. It's about transforming it into something meaningful, something alive, something divine. 8. You have a dark sense of humor. Having a dark sense of humor doesn't mean you're cruel or detached. It means your soul has learned how to turn pain into wisdom. You see the absurdity and irony woven into life's suffering, and instead of collapsing under it, you transform it into laughter. This isn't insensitivity, it's emotional resilience. It's the quiet sign of someone who has walked through darkness and come out seeing both the tragedy and the comedy of life. Carl Jung once said, "The brighter the light, the darker the shadow." And your laughter at life's shadow side is proof of your inner maturity. You've seen enough of life to know that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional, and humor becomes your way of reclaiming your power. When you find humor in heartbreak, chaos, or human contradiction, it shows that your mind has evolved beyond ordinary perception. You're not mocking pain, you're mastering it. You understand that everyone carries wounds, but very few can look at those wounds and laugh without bitterness. That laughter is the mark of spiritual strength. It's the soul's way of saying, "I've been there, but I'm no longer defined by it." You've turned emotional scars into sacred symbols of growth. Through this lens, your humor becomes a form of spiritual awakening, showing that you can embrace life's messiness without losing your grace. Your ability to laugh at darkness also reveals a rare kind of intelligence, one that perceives paradox as truth. You know that life is both tragic and beautiful, cruel and compassionate, meaningless and divine. You see both sides and refuse to choose between them. That awareness itself is the essence of spiritual growth. You no longer try to escape the contradictions of existence. You accept them as part of the greater dance between light and shadow. Your laughter becomes the bridge that connects both worlds, the human and the divine. People who misunderstand you might think your humor is inappropriate or strange, but that's only because they haven't yet faced their own darkness. What they call dark is actually the result of your healing. You've learned to laugh at what once broke you, to see beauty in what once frightened you. That's not avoidance, it's transformation. Every time you find humor in pain, you're performing a kind of spiritual alchemy, turning sorrow into insight and wounds into wisdom. It's your way of saying that even the heaviest experiences can be softened by awareness and love. A dark sense of humor, then, is not about denial, but acceptance. It's a sign that you've reached a level of consciousness where you can look at suffering and still smile. It means you've stopped running from your shadow and started dancing with it. In doing so, you teach others that spirituality isn't about pretending everything is light. It's about learning to find light within the darkness. That is the power of your laughter. It's not mockery, it's mastery. It's not ignorance, it's illumination. And in that laughter lies the quiet wisdom of a soul that has truly awakened. 9. You overthink happiness. You often overthink happiness because your mind refuses to accept it at face value. Instead of simply feeling joy, you analyze its source, its duration, and its meaning, as though you're studying a fragile flame that might vanish at any moment. You sense that joy is temporary, that life constantly shifts between light and shadow. And so even in your happiest moments, a quiet awareness lingers the knowledge that nothing lasts forever. Carl Jung once said, "Even a happy life cannot be without a measure of darkness." And that truth resonates deeply within you. Happiness, to you, isn't about constant laughter or an endless pursuit of pleasure. It's about understanding the balance between chaos and calm, gain and loss, joy and sorrow. Because you are attuned to life's impermanence, contentment sometimes feels like sand slipping through your fingers. Yet that very awareness gives birth to spiritual wisdom. You understand that happiness is not something to chase, but something to create, something woven into moments of meaning, purpose, and presence. You find satisfaction not in the temporary highs of comfort, but in the quiet fulfillment that comes from creation, reflection, and truth. When others rush to escape their emptiness with noise and distraction, you sit with silence and listen. You feel the subtle rhythm of life, and you know that true happiness whispers, and it never shouts. You see, intelligence and spiritual awakening often come with the gift of depth, and with that depth comes an awareness that pleasure alone cannot fill the soul. You no longer find joy in surface-level excitement or shallow validation. Instead, your heart yearns for alignment, for the harmony between your thoughts, actions, and spirit. The ordinary person seeks happiness outside themselves, but you've realized that happiness born from the external world fades quickly. Real joy is internal, born from living in truth, from expressing your authentic self, and from turning pain into purpose. When you analyze your happiness, it isn't because you're ungrateful. It's because you want to understand the architecture of meaning. You sense that life's beauty lies in contrast, that joy feels profound precisely because you've known sorrow. And in that understanding, you embody Carl Jung's teaching that wholeness is achieved not by rejecting pain, but by integrating it. You transform suffering into art, heartbreak into compassion, and solitude into strength. Every moment of reflection refines your consciousness and deepens your connection to life itself. You may feel misunderstood at times because your happiness doesn't look like everyone else's. You don't need constant stimulation or validation. You find peace in creation, in learning, in quiet moments where your mind and soul merge into awareness. That's where true happiness lives, not in excitement, but in clarity. And when you stop overanalyzing and start allowing yourself to feel, happiness becomes effortless again. You realize it was never lost, only buried beneath layers of thought. So when your mind starts to dissect joy, pause and breathe. Let yourself feel the simple miracle of being here alive, aware, and awake. You don't need to control happiness or explain it. You only need to experience it fully, as it is. Because happiness, in its truest form, isn't a goal to reach, it's the natural state of a soul at peace with both its light and its darkness. 10. You feel like an outsider. Even when surrounded by people who love you, there are moments when you feel strangely apart, as if you're watching life unfold rather than truly living it. This sense of separation is not a flaw, it's awareness. You are not disconnected from the world, you are simply perceiving it from a higher vantage point. Your solitude is not loneliness, but a sacred retreat, a place where your deep mind recharges and your spirit realigns. Carl Jung once said, "Loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you." That is the mark of an awakened mind, one that senses what others cannot name, one that sees truth where most only see the surface. You've learned to observe human nature as though from a balcony above the crowd, recognizing the unspoken motives behind actions, the hidden sorrow behind smiles, the fear behind anger. This heightened perception can make you appear distant, yet it is compassion in its purest form. You no longer need to react to everything you see because you understand that every soul is finding its way at its own pace. This emotional distance is not detachment, but mastery. It allows you to remain peaceful while others lose themselves in chaos. You stand rooted in self-awareness while the world rushes by, and that, in essence, is spirituality in motion. There's a quiet power in your solitude, a depth that frightens shallow minds. You find nourishment not in noise, but in silence, not in crowds, but in contemplation. When others crave distraction, you seek meaning. When they chase pleasure, you search for purpose. Your spirit finds connection not in the many, but in the few, those rare souls whose depth mirrors your own. These are the moments when you realize that being an outsider is not a curse, but a compass, guiding you toward authenticity, truth, and inner peace. The spiritually awakened don't need the world to understand them. They only need to understand themselves. You are not meant to blend in with the ordinary because your consciousness has outgrown it. The very detachment you once resisted becomes your sanctuary. You no longer crave to be heard. You are content to simply know. You no longer chase validation. You carry quiet certainty within. This is the essence of spiritual awakening, to walk among others while no longer being lost among them, to love deeply yet remain free, to see life not as chaos, but as a profound mirror of the soul. You are not an outsider. You are evolution in human form, an awakened mind moving gracefully through a world still learning how to see. To embrace your unique path and honor the depth of your individuality, take a moment to declare it. Comment below. I embrace my difference as a reminder that being an outsider is often the mark of true spiritual awakening and uncommon intelligence. Your words may inspire another rare soul to finally feel seen. And that brings us to the end of today's journey through the mind of the rare and extraordinary. True intelligence isn't about how much you know, it's about how deeply you understand, how courageously you think, and how compassionately you live. If today's message spoke to your soul, don't forget to leave a like, share this video with someone who needs it, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom for more insights inspired by Carl Jung and timeless truth. Turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming videos that continue to awaken your higher mind and deepen your spiritual wisdom.